Who is Bonginkosi? Bonginkosi was born on 18th of May 1997 in the mining area. I was born in one of the mines that are popular coal fields, South Deep. My father is a mine worker and my mother never worked. I was born in that area since I grew up in that area since 1987. Born in terms of mine language, we call it Scomblas. It's a married quarters where mine workers reside. Went to school around this side, and I was heavily affected in 1997 when my father was hit by retrenchment, which I had to lose school this side. I went to go to the Eastern Cape for the first time, 1997. And I went to study that side, starting from my grade, what do you call it, standard 3. I'm not sure how they call it in terms of grade.
Grade 5.
Yes, yeah, I went to learn at the rural areas. Grew up there up until I reached my matric, 2005. And when I finished my matric, the sad part was that my father was a taxi driver at the time. Remember, he was just a mine worker without any skills to provide the outside world. He was just a taxi driver. At the time, 2006, I didn't have money to go to varsity. I didn't have money to any college things, but I remember going to a school that does computers, which I did only my computer literacy. My father came back on the mines around about 2005 at the time. Started with the contractors, worked, and he came back to the mine as a permanent person. I came back this side, 2008, looking for a job at the time. I was employed by a company, a subcontractor in Coalfields, South Deep. Worked there for a few months, but I was dismissed because they said I've got political minds. If ever you can recall, maybe that you can recall, 1st May 2008, there was an incident of 9 people that passed away in South Deep through a catch. So I was interviewed by one journalist from SABC, and I told him that as workers, we can't go into that catch anymore because we lose trust in terms of the system. Then my company was told that it's either they dismiss me or the whole company goes. It's a subcontract. Then I was told that I'm dismissed the following day. And then I went to a company called Festival Amazulini. I was employed as a fitter assistant at the time. Worked, also joined NUM when I arrived there. 2008. I was elected as a shop steward. I worked, and the sad part of it, I couldn't get promotions. I was supposed to go for my apprentice, and because I was involved with unions, engineers told me that I won't go. So I couldn't get that opportunity to write my trade test because of that. But I worked through the ranks of the union. I then became a shop steward. I became a secretary of the workplace and the treasurer. Then I worked up until 2013. 2012. 2012 there was an illegal strike. If you recall, there was the image of AMCO at the time where there was illegal strike that took place. And one of our company, my company, was also affected. Workers went on an illegal strike. I was part of the branch committee at the time. We had meetings with management regarding the strikes. I was dismissed purely because I was at work anyway. But I was dismissed. I was told that I did not report at the plant. And then at the time, Kosatu came in, the likes of Stumo, Vavi came in, the likes of Zokwane and Matos at the side. We were reinstated. But when I was reinstated, I was reinstated in the condition that I don't go back to the plant where I used to work. I can only go underground. First time experience. I had to take that opportunity. It was in November 2012. I went underground, worked. In a few months down the line, I think in February 2013, then I was co-opted as the branch secretary of Ezulwini branch at the time, which that saw my time living underground places. Because as a branch secretary, you must be a full-time person. Went, I elected on 2014 as a branch secretary. I then left, after that I became a full-time, even up until today. Then I studied, I'm a safety officer by profession. Went to do safety courses and all of those things with NOSA. I'm doing other safety courses with other colleges. I'll be enrolling with UNISA for my diploma. I'm proud this year. So I went through the ranks, be the branch secretary. As young as I was at the time, I became the regional youth secretary at PWV region. After that, I was elected on 2016 as a national youth secretary. Since 2016, I'm still here.
Okay, so you're the national youth secretary for
the NME structure.
Okay, so why were you always interested in the politics behind or being in part of the trade union movement? What do you think pulled you in?
Okay. Mostly, as I said, I was born in the mines. I saw the hard times which our fathers went through. I remember my father was a rig assistant at the time, and the little pay that he get, and the conditions they used to work to. And I believe that being part of the union, it will assist in terms of fighting for those that are voiceless in the mining industry. And I was part of the system when I was employed. And I also find, my first pay in Murek, working for 30 days as a storeman, I earned 1,100 rands. And I've said, I need to fight, I need to be part of the trade union to make sure that such kind of things, they don't happen. Because people in the mining industry, they work very hard. They work in dangerous conditions, but they earn little money. So I believed that being part of the involvement of the struggle, it will assist in terms of to better the conditions, wages, working conditions of the mine workers. And I still believe that NUM is the right union that is currently assisting to improve the conditions of mine workers, not only in wages. That will talk in terms of development in the workplace, promotions, your appointments, your living conditions in hostels. Maybe you'll read history that at some point you'll find more than 10 or 15 people living in one room in hostels. Through NUM currently there's a change. You find that mine workers that own houses through ownership schemes. So I believe that being part of that, it was going to assist and improve the lives of the mine workers.
Okay. So now that June is upon us and it's Youth Month, and as part of the National Youth Secretary, what does June 16 mean for you?
For me, as you've said, it's a Youth Month. Remembering that on 1976, students stood up and said enough is enough. They are going to fight the then apartheid regime in terms of being taught by Africans. Now we are learning out of the experience that we had a generation that was so much brave to stand up to a brutal regime that its mission was to kill and make sure that they silence the black people. We are saying that we are still facing the similar challenges as young people this age, whereby we are unemployed, we are underpaid, we are working on difficult conditions as workers. And we're saying that we learn out of that and we say we need young people that are going to come up and stand up for the youth in our communities, in our workplaces, and make sure that we better our lives. Little has changed from 1976. We still find ourselves that the youth is not getting enough opportunities to go to school, We are having black young people that are roaming around our communities, having finished their matric, and they still need education. We are still having graduates that are highly qualified without any jobs in the current time. So I'm saying that it's a month that we think that we need to gather as young people and share these experiences, but have a position and say, how do we deal with these issues? We need to engage private sectors as to say, how do we manage and make sure that we've got mixed skills and mixed ages in the workplaces. We are having old people that have been there for years in these companies, and they just get, big bonuses, monies, whilst you've got a young person that you can bring in the system that will be able to assist you and give you new ideas and people that will assist in terms of the direction of the company. And I think government must do more in making sure that we engage more of these young people, employ them, put them in correct positions, and better the future of young people. So it's a month where we need to celebrate as young people and say, we need to take control of our future and our direction.
Okay. Now, since we've joined Ditsela as young people, we've noticed that most of the people in trade unions are old people who are mature.
Right.
So how would you encourage young people to partake in the trade union movement and why they should join it?
Look, I think what you're raising is true. Is that majority of people or members of trade union currently are old people. Young people are skeptic, I must say, to join the trade unions. And they've got their reasons. I know that they don't get enough exposure, or they're not given enough experience or chance to expose themselves by the elders. That's number one. Because these young people, when they come into these trade unions, elders are scared as to say they're going to take up their positions. They won't understand employers, because we're having elders that really understand employers. In the mining sector, you'll be told that you must not fight a white man, you must understand that he does not have money, and all of those things. Now, when you find these young people, they're here, they're passionate, they're militant, they're vibrant, they know their rights more than elders. Now, they're being closed down doors by these elders. So I'm saying we need to find a correct measure as to how to attract young people to partake in the trade union field, whereby we see we need to be relevant. We need unions that are going to be relevant and talk the language of young people. Because currently trade unions, they are mainly about old and having the old system they've been having, just like NUM. NUM has been formed in 1982. Most of the things that are happening in NUM are not transformed. The youth in the mining, energy sector and construction can't relate on some of the things that NUM is doing. We need a union that won't go to wages and say we want only an increase in terms of wages and other things. We want a union that will say we are fighting or going on strike for development of young people. We are fighting, we want a demand of in workplaces we need to have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, because we're having these young people that are so much connected to internet. So I think we want to encourage young people that, or firstly to encourage trade unions to be much relevant to young people. That's when young people are going to be able to see the relevance of joining the trade union.
Okay. Well, lastly, just to end off our interview, as you've said, you've been here at NUM, and when you leave, what legacy would you like to leave? What do you want to gain from NUM, and what would you also like to leave behind here?
I've been a member of NUM for 10 years now, and I must say that I'm grateful that NUM has taught me so much. I've went through different courses, leadership courses. I've gained much exposure in terms of leadership skills. The education that I've got, the other qualifications post my matric, it is purely because of NUM. NUM has paid bursaries, study loans, and all of that. So I'm really much grateful of NUM that has done, and I wish that it may not only end up me, even other young people that are coming to the ranks of NUM, they must be able to benefit. Most important, members must be able to benefit through NUM. But what I want to see when I leave NUM, I want to see a strong, united NUM going forward. A union that will accommodate all levels of ages inside NUM. A union that will be a caring union as we live according to our values in NUM. A union that will be relevant to everyone in all sectors that organize. I want to see when I retire at some point and be proud of that there is an NUM that I know, an NUM that gives back to the community, an NUM that fights for the rights of workers. So that's the NUM that I want to see.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. I don't know if Comrade Maki has any more questions.
No, Comrade, all I can say is thanks very much for your time. It was a very informative session. Okay. So as Ditsela, we're also looking forward to having or to establish the working relations with young people, not only in NUM but across the federation.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Comrade Mami, is there anything you want to say?
Not at all.
All right. Well, comrades, if are there any questions you want to raise? One, two.
Just one. Oh, okay. This year alone, there's been some incidents in certain mines. I think there's one mine that has had 2 incidents in the past 4 months. Yeah, still waters mine there. So, yeah. Okay. As NUM, what are you doing, or what have you done, maybe to make sure or to push for the families of the workers who lost their lives, to make sure that they are properly compensated in whatever way they should be compensated? Have you done something, or are you doing something about it as NUM?
Firstly, I think you are correct. It's Sibanye Stillwater. We had 7 fatals recently. We had other close to 2 or 3 fatals that happened on different operations, Clove operations and Trefontaine operations. And secondly, I'd like to send my condolences to those that were affected by those families, to them and their families. And thirdly, we must indicate that at different operations as NUM, we're having standard or standing agreements, where in such cases things happen. Firstly, we entered an agreement that if ever one breadwinner passes away through fatal incident, that the company must take responsibility of bearing that family, the cost and everything, and transporting that person, either East Mozambique or Eastern Cape, wherever they are. Secondly, there must be a person that is going to replace that breadwinner or that employee from the family. So meaning that the member is or family has a responsibility to appoint one person that is going to come and replace that person. We are furthering our discussions as far as to say companies need to take responsibilities. If ever I had children that are still in the system, the company must take responsibility in terms of educating that person up until the varsity level. Because we knew that if ever the father or the mother was there, was going to make means for his or her child to go through and further his education. So we are about to get agreement in some of the companies. I know in Harmony, we did that. I think last year we had a young lady that passed away through a fatal. We engaged the company that they must take responsibilities in terms of the education of the child, and we had an agreement on that. So that as young people, we are saying that we need to make sure that we don't only take care of the work-related part, but even at home, we must make sure that there's something that comes up. So we are doing that. But maybe lastly, from my side, if you allow me, that as much as it's a youth month, the structure will be having different campaigns. We've been doing sports events all over the country. On the weekend, we're in Carltonville, the area there, where we had sports. We gathered young people that were part of that, played soccer, netball, just to socialize. The 2 weeks back we're in Limpopo in Pegasport area. This week on the 15th we're having a national event where there will be your 5-kilometer fun walk where we encourage young people to exercise.
Yes.
So we'll be having that in Welcome in Griffon Stadium, and after the 5-kilometer walk we'll be having sports, your netball, your volleyball, your soccer, and where we want more young people to partake. And the following day it will be a national youth rally. We've invited all POA structures to be part of that. So we want to spread the word of young people engaging, having discussions in terms of how do we better our country going forward, because we think that tomorrow we must be able to get to direct this country to a better state. So we'll be having those events. If ever you are invited, we invite everyone that is in interest in Welcome, will be there. And then we'll be having more other events that are going to give back to the communities. Because usually we have sanitary towels that we issue to schools, different schools around.